Curriculum-embedded assessment is at the center of what we do in our classrooms throughout the year. It is an ongoing process of clarifying intended learning, eliciting evidence from students about what they are learning, interpreting and analyzing the evidence they produce, giving feedback to students based on that evidence, and modifying instruction to adapt to what you have learned about what your students are learning. You probably know these as elements of the formative assessment cycle. Of course, in the full assessment cycle, you would begin with identifying what you want to assess, but we are not going to spend much time in this training talking about planning or designing assessments. You probably also know that formative assessment is not separate from instruction. It happens minute to minute, day to day, and week to week as part of your instruction. We're going to spend a little bit of time thinking about these elements of formative assessment and instruction, and, as we do, we will be using the lens of Universal Design for Learning, UDL, to ensure that we are thinking about and reaching all students. We'll come back to UDL throughout this training. The primary focus of this professional development is on the role of summative assessment in the teaching and learning cycle. In particular, the Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment. Smarter Balanced also provides tools that can be used throughout the year leading up to the summative assessment, including formative assessment tools in the digital library and interim assessments. These are part of the Smarter Balanced Assessment System, and we want you to be aware of them. There are two separate assessments that make up the Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment System: ELA Literacy and Math. Both tests have two parts, the Computer Adaptive Test, or CAT, and a Performance Assessment or Performance Task. The CAT uses a variety of selected response and short constructed response items. These are screenshots of CAT items from the online practice test, which are publicly available at smarterbalanced.org, where there is one full practice test for each grade level. The ELA performance tasks ask students to read texts, answer research questions based on the texts, and write a complete multi-paragraph composition related to the texts. The math performance tasks provide stimuli, each consisting of a description of a context, along with relevant data and constraints, and include sets of 6 items, some machine-scored and some hand-scored, that build on one another toward a culminating extended response item. The focus of this training is on the instructional implications of the Smarter Balanced performance tasks. But let's take a moment to zoom back out and talk more generally for a minute about what performance assessment is and what it does. We define performance assessment by what it asks of students, which is that it asks them to do and to produce, to demonstrate their learning through work that is authentic to the discipline and to the real world. This is a general definition of performance assessment, not specific to Smarter Balanced performance tasks, but we believe that curriculum-embedded performance assessment that adheres to these 4 principles will support students in developing the knowledge and skills they will need in the summative context and, more importantly, in college and career. The principles are: performance assessment targets skills and knowledge that matter. It is assessment for and as learning. It is learning by doing. And it links curriculum, instruction, and assessment.